Okay, so show my screen. Now you should be able to see my screen. Sanjay, is it fine? Can you see? Okay. So now I'm going to mute all, and if there is anything you want to communicate, please use the chat window. Okay. So today's session we are going to talk about procurement. So during planning, so we were talking as a continuation. So we were in project planning, and one of the aspects of planning is you have to plan for the procurements as well. And the first key thing is make or buy analysis. So when we really start a project, we have to decide what all things we are going to buy and what all things you are going to make within the team, within your organization, and what are the things that is going to be bought out from outside. So that is a major decision you have to make when you plan for a project. So we call it as a make or buy analysis. Then another tool that is used for this procurement planning is expert judgment. So if you have the expertise, based on your past experience and expertise, you can decide what all things you should procure from outside and what all things you can do from inside. Then okay, we should be aware of different contract types. So this will form the agenda for today's discussion. And whenever we proceed with this, whatever queries you have, just key in, I'll be answering that. Okay, this is fine. And this is all about determining what to purchase, why, from where to purchase, and when to purchase, and from whom to purchase. So these things need to be planned. Typically, the procurement process involves make or buy analysis. Then you have to make the request for proposals, bidders conferences, and the bidders conferences you'll have to explain the scope of work to the bidders. There will be a lot of queries coming from the bidders, so you'll have to explain the scope of work to them. Then you have to design a screening criteria and a weighting criteria. Then after collecting the proposals, you'll have to evaluate those proposals based on this screening criteria and the weighting criteria. And from that, you have to pick up the best participant. All these activities will invite a lot of additional time and cost, and it has to be planned, and it should be part of your project schedule. Otherwise, your schedules will go haywire. Now, one key thing here is, okay, now a contract is a formal document, is a formal agreement. It is legally binding. All contracts requirements should be met, and changes must be in writing and formally controlled. A classical example of a contract is marriage. So even if you want to amend it, both the parties should agree. One party alone cannot run away from it, because the other party can sue you. So these things, now when you argue with the client and all, unnecessarily be careful, because if it is against the contractual terms, sometimes they can even sue you. Because we have had a case where the CEO of an Indian company went to Malaysia. That's to be precise, Polaris. That was a big company. At least it was, at that time, it was 20,000 employees. So the CEO went to Malaysia for a discussion with the client. And during the discussion, there was some sort of a disagreement, and he unnecessarily argued with the client. And after that, he could not come out. Yeah. So because the client contacted the police, and the CEO was arrested straight away. So those are the issues. So all contract requirements should be met. You cannot run away from a contractual obligations. So if I've signed a contract with you for a PMP training or whatever it is. If I don't deliver it, then maybe you can sue me. Then I'll be punished. Okay, so fine. So a contract is a formal agreement, legally binding. All contract requirements should be met, and changes must be in writing and formally controlled. Now, while planning, during the planning stage, it is very, very critical to decide whether you should go for a centralized contracting or a decentralized contracting. Should you go for centralized or a decentralized contracting? When we say centralized contracting, it is like the entire procurement will happen at one location. If it's a multi-location project, the entire procurement will happen in a central location, and then it will be distributed to the appropriate other locations. Or it could be high value items alone will be centrally procured, and then low value items can be procured locally. So this is a big decision. So, and both has its own pros and cons. So when it is centralized contracting, first thing is, okay, now you'll have a contracts team working for you. That means you can attract better talent, increased expertise in contracting talent you can hire, because they'll be catering to multiple projects, not just your project. Then since it is a centralized procurement thing, you will have standardized company practices even for procurement, and you will have a clearly defined career path for even for the contracting staff. Because if you see the Burj Khalifa project, they had a separate contracting department, so it's not done by the project manager, a separate department doing it for them. So within that department, okay, they can definitely have a clearly defined career path. Then some of the disadvantages for the project could be, since the contracting staff is catering to different projects, there is no exclusivity for your project. His time will be shared across multiple projects, so it's difficult to gain his access because your project is only just one project to him, because he's handling multiple projects. Yeah, that is one of the disadvantages. Then coming back to decentralized contracting, that means, okay, your project will have a dedicated contracts person, and he'll be handling only your project. And because of that, it is very easy to gain access to the contracting expertise, and you can expect more loyalty by the contracting person to your project, because that person is dedicated exclusively for you. Then some of the disadvantages for decentralized contracting is, at the end of the project, what will happen to this contracts guy? He will not have a home to go back. That means after the project, since he was handling only just that particular project, at the end of the project, he may not have a place to go. So he'll be sitting on the bench. And it's difficult to maintain high degree of contracting expertise, because since his scope is limited, that person is handling only one project. You may not be able to attract expert contracting staff unless the project is a mega project. And because you will end up duplicating the contracting expertise across project locations if it is a multi-location project, and each location may have their own practices, which will end up in very little standardization of the procurement practices. So these are some of the pros and cons. Sometimes you will have to go for a hybrid model where high value items, centralized contracting, low value items, decentralized contracting. So all those combinations are possible. Then the basic types are centralized contracting versus decentralized contracting. And if you understand the benefits and the demerits of centralized as well as decentralized, we can proceed. So if you have any questions, you just type in the chat window. I'll answer them. Okay, so then the procurement process. These are the stages of procurement. So we have procurement planning. Key thing is make or buy decisions. Then solicitation planning. When we say solicitation planning, should I advertise in newspapers, or should I advertise in the e-media only? Should I advertise in gazettes? So in a way, since we said marriage is a contract, the stages are all same, whether it is a marriage or a corporate procurement. So now let's say if somebody is deciding to get married, and if it's an arranged marriage, the first thing is procurement planning. You'll start speccing, the specifications, the tall, dark, handsome, long hair, highly educated, employable, or housewife, rich man's only daughter kind of stuff. You start speccing. Then solicitation planning, you will be talking about, should it be through shadi.com, or it should be love marriage, arranged marriage, or could it be referrals through relatives, M4, marry, and all those things. Then solicitation, there you literally request for proposals, and you get the proposals from multiple people, and then you shortlist them based on some criteria, and among the shortlisted, you decide, you finalize on one particular case. That means that is a source selection, and the marriage happens. That is a contract. You signed a contract, and the contract closeout also happens. Maybe a natural closeout, or sometimes it could be an abnormal short closure. Since marriage is a contract, the stages involved in both corporate procurements as well as in an arranged marriage, the steps are all same. You can compare because marriage is also a contract. So that way it becomes very easy for you to remember these things. The key thing is all these things invites additional tasks, and the moment additional task happens, everything invites additional time and cost. So as a project manager, if you don't factor all these things into your schedule, then you are in trouble, because at the fall of a hat, your schedules will go for a toss. So all these things need to be incorporated into your schedule. So that way, this is very very helpful. Is okay, and this slide is very important because there are basically talks about the basic types of contracts. Primarily, there are 4 types of contract. So first thing is you have cost reimbursable contract. So in all cost reimbursable contract, the cost risk is with the buyer. Because sometimes when I get assignments in the Middle East, I go there, and some of them are cost reimbursable. That means they will provide me with my visa charges, accommodation, flight ticket, local conveyance. Everything is taken care of. And at the end of the day, they give me a fixed fee, like X dollars they pay me. So in this case, I will never make a loss, because irrespective of whether 2 persons are sitting in front of me and attending the training, or whether it is 20 people sitting and attending the training, I'll get my money. So in this case, I am the seller, and the person who is taking me to Qatar or Muscat, that person is the buyer, and he can make a loss, whereas I will never make a loss. So I'll get my money. So in all cost reimbursable contract, the cost risk is with the buyer, because the seller will never make a loss. The variants of cost reimbursable contracts are cost plus fixed fee, that is one type of contract. Then comes cost plus percentage of cost, because for the construction of my house, we have appointed an architect, and he's getting 3% of the project cost. So that is a typical example of cost plus percentage of cost. Whenever you visit the site, taxi charges, everything is paid, plus he gets 3% of the overall project cost. So that is cost plus percentage of cost. In some countries, especially in the US federal and all, this is not allowed, because here sometimes the buyer's interests are not protected, because always the interest of the seller will be to increase the project cost so that he can get a better bargain in the process, because his charges are percentage of the total project cost. So he may try to jack up the project cost so that he can make more money. So this contract type doesn't protect the buyer's interest. So in some places it is prohibited. Then cost plus incentive fee. Now let's say I'm going to a location on a cost reimbursable mode, and if number of participants are more than 10, then I get some incentives. That is called example of cost plus incentive fee. And cost plus incentive fee and cost plus award fee both are same. At the end of the training, if the average feedback is very high, then okay, I may get an award fee, an incentive fee. So both cost plus incentive and cost plus award fee, you can treat it as the same. The key thing about all cost reimbursable contract is the cost risk is high for the buyer, and the seller will never make a loss. At the same time, all other risks are high for the seller. Now, on a cost reimbursable mode, you may go to a client's place to conduct a training program, and because it is cost reimbursable, suddenly you might have agreed for 15 participants, and then suddenly you will see 20 of them because the customer wants to really put in a lot of people, so that his cost per head will come down. So sometimes you travel to Delhi, and then they will try to put you into the cheapest hotel available. Then again you are at a quality risk. Yeah? So only the cost risk is high for the buyer. All other risk is high for the seller in a cost reimbursable contract. Then comes time and material. That means, okay, now let's say if I want to get resources urgently, I don't have time to conduct the interviews and then get into and then give the time for 2 months time, notice period for joining and all those things. Sometimes I may not have the luxury. So in that case, okay, I'll go and get people on a time and material mode. I'll pick up the phone and then talk to some manpower consultancies and then get them. And based on the timesheets, their salaries will be provided. So as a manager, if I want to get resources very quickly, then time and material is ideal because it's pretty fast. And if the resources need is temporary as well, time and material is the best, because after the work I can send them back to their own organization. Then come fixed price. Fixed price means the seller will quote a price and the buyer will either agree to it or disagree. And if the cost of the project is lesser than the quoted price, the seller will make a profit. But if the cost of the project goes above the quoted price, then the seller will make a loss. So in all fixed price contract, the cost risk is high for the seller. At the same time, all other risks like quality, time, related risk, everything is high for the buyer. Because if you outsource some work on fixed price mode to a location like India, the supplier will quote X dollars and you need to give him only X dollars. Even if it becomes X plus delta X, you need not pay him that. You need to pay only X dollars. So you are insulated from the cost risk. What about schedule? The schedule risk is high for you because you don't have much control on the schedule. What about quality? You don't have much control on the quality because you don't know what's happening in that outsourced location. And what about scope? Definitely there is enough room for scope mismatches in an outsourced project. So in all fixed price contract, only the cost risk is high for the seller, whereas all other risk is high for the buyer. That means only when you get the final product you know that whether it is good or bad. The variants of fixed price contract are firm fixed price or lump sum, and fixed price with incentive fee, and fixed price with economic price adjustment. So firm fixed price or lump sum means, okay, now the seller will quote a price, one single price, and then that's it. Either he'll make a profit or a loss. Then sometimes a variant of that could be fixed price with incentive fee. That means, okay, fixed price is quoted and then there could be some incentives, like if you deliver it before a particular date, then there is an incentive. Or if you can manage the cost within a particular limit, then you may get some incentive. So that's a combination of fixed price with incentive. Then comes FPEPA, that is fixed price with economic price adjustment. This is for very long projects, which runs for a couple of years or 2-3 years. So there will be a provision to renegotiate the price of the main raw material and stuff like that. So if it is a mega project, there could be provisions for renegotiating the cost, the total cost of the project based on the fluctuations in the cement price or the steel price or the oil price and the electricity price. So based on all these things, there are dollar fluctuations. So based on this, there could be arrangements for periodic revision of renegotiation of prices. Okay, so that is FPEPA, fixed price with economic price adjustment. Then comes purchase order. So purchase order is also a form of a contract. So this is primarily for off-the-shelf items, like let's say you want to buy 10 laptops or you want to buy 20 mini computers, then okay, you raise a purchase order. So in many countries, okay, I'm seeing a combination of purchase. Irrespective of the type of the order, everything may be sealed with a purchase order. So that is also possible. But the classical purchase order is primarily for standard items. Okay, so do you have any questions? So if you have any questions, please use the chat window, type, I can answer them. Okay, so then okay, here, yeah, so here let me check. So unmute all. Hi Sanjay, anybody has any questions now? Do you have any questions? Sanjay, any questions? Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Yes. Everything should be in writing, not just the contract. Any changes to it also should be in writing. Any amendments to it also should be in writing. In real life also, because just because I've spoken you something over the net, it doesn't become a legal document. Or an email also, I don't know whether it is legally valid. It's a risky business. Okay, so I think I'll proceed now. Any other questions? Okay. So here we are talking about the key procurement documents like the request for bid. So this is primarily for mega projects, like let's say you're getting into a new seaport or an airport kind of thing, where a consortium of companies is quoting for it. Then we use a request for bid because of the sheer volume. It is yeah. Then comes the request for quotation. Request for quotation is primarily for standard items. Let's say I want to buy furniture for my house. Maybe I may go with a request for request for quotation. Then a request for proposal, this is primarily for standard medium-sized project where there is one buyer, one seller, and then we request for proposal. Then request for information, this is like you know the problem, but then you don't know the solution. Then okay, you go for request for information. So in my case, okay, now some time back there was a complaint like the clarity of the voice recorded is not good. So I know the problem, but then I do not know the solution. Then I contacted a lot of the sound specialists. So I got solutions from rupees 10,000 to 10 lakhs. Somebody was saying you should have a home theater, soundproof recording studio kind of thing with mixers and all those things. Whereas somebody else told me like, all you need is a high quality headset with good noise cancellation. And the solution was in something between from 4,000 rupees to 10 lakh Indian rupees. So at last this microphone cost only 4,000 rupees. So it is serving the purpose because it has, I think, excellent noise cancellation features, because the place where I'm sitting now, it is not very quiet. There are sounds, but then if you are not able to hear them, then okay, this is a good solution. So RFI, you have a problem and you don't know much about the solution, or you know that okay, all you need is a ERP system to solve your issues. Then you don't know which ERP. You don't know anything about SAP. You don't know anything about JD Edwards. You don't know anything about Oracle manufacturing or whatever it is. Then okay, you'll request for information. So let them come and they'll come and educate you. That means there is no commitment from your side. They have to come and educate you. That is a request for information. Then comes letter of intent. Letter of intent is not legally binding because in many it is like when I was in pre-sales, whenever a customer told me things like, Avi, this order is for you, start mobilizing your team because we'll need some time to do the paperwork for the contract, but then get ready for the project kind of thing. Then immediately I used to ask them like, boss, if that is the case, please give me a letter of intent. So when I say letter of intent, they'll type on their company letterhead saying that we are intending to give this order to you, so please start mobilizing the team and all those things. And the contract will follow after some time. But then one problem with letter of intent is it is not legally binding. So if you really start work based on a letter of intent, and then tomorrow if that person doesn't award you that contract, then you cannot sue him. So it is not legally binding. So it's kind of a betrothal. So betrothal is I intend to marry you kind of thing. But then betrothal is not legally binding, whereas contract is marriage. That is legally binding. Betrothal is letter of intent. But if you are, if it's a reputed person or organization, once they give a promise, they will honor it. But then it doesn't have any legal validity, because there are enough cases, a lot of cases going on in the Middle East where people started work based on the letter of intent, and halfway through the customer changed their mind, and then whatever money the supplier spent till then, it was all wasted. So there's a problem with letter of intent. Yep. So these are the basic contract types, and from the exam perspective, so you should know when to apply what type of contract. That means if you want the resources immediately, or you should go for a time and material. And if you don't know the scope of work very, very clearly, then most probably it will be a kind of a cost reimbursable kind of thing. Whenever you're hiring a consultant or you're hiring a lawyer or an architect, the scope is not very, is not very clean, very clear. It is highly volatile. Then okay, you go with the cost reimbursable thing. But if the scope is very, very clear and then you want to start the work, a medium-sized project, then always you go with the fixed price contract. And then for buying standard items, you raise a purchase order, and because purchase order is also a contract. Then we discussed about the procurement process, like make or buy decisions. At the time of planning, we have to decide what all things we should make, what all things we should subcontract, and what all things we should procure from outside. So the moment we make a work breakdown structure, then we can decide what all work packages we'll be doing ourselves, and what all work packages can be outsourced, and what are all the raw materials we should be procuring from outside. So these decisions happen, make or buy analysis. Then we have to get into procurement planning, bidders conferences, screening criteria you have to define, weighting criteria you have to define, then request for proposals, get the proposals, compare them against the criteria you have defined, and to be very professional, if it is a high value procurement, you should always form a purchase team, a purchase group, and the decision should be based, it should be group based decision making, based on the evaluation criteria as already defined, and then you sign the contract. So these are the steps involved when we get into procurements. So now if you have any questions, let us discuss. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Yeah, because here one key thing is see, I've seen patterns here, in the sense, if you have a person who's coming from construction, mechanical, electrical, plumbing kind of a background, then you'll be very strong in the procurement knowledge area. But if you are coming from pure IT background, and if you have not worked in the pre-sales and all, then this could be very difficult for you. Yeah. So if you're from IT and if you have not worked in pre-sales, these things could be difficult for you. So you'll have to put in more effort to understand these things. But if you are coming from construction, manufacturing kind of a background, then this is bread and butter for you. Then this will be a strong area. So you have any questions now? Yeah, tell me. Hello, yes, I can hear you, Ajas. Yeah. So here, see, actually now, see, we have a paid program. So the slides used for that program is same as this. So so if you want to really convert this into your PMP training, you can join for that course. I'll send you an email. I'll send you an email. I'll give you the complete details. You are from Muscat or Saudi Arabia? Okay, so I'll send you the I'll send you the complete details maybe today itself. Okay, and the other two gentlemen, they are attending from Australia. So you are from which country or nationality? Oh, which, Hyderabad, is it? Okay, good. So, so are you planning for your PMP and all? Okay, great. So I'll send you the details, uh, and if you can enroll, then see. Okay, I'll take you through because it will be redundant for others. So I'll have a separate session for you. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, so no, today I planned only this much because this is the procurement planning part. So we started with the basic documents, then requests for proposals, the procurement process. We discussed different types of contracts. We discussed. Then it was all about when to apply what type of contract. So you'll get around 15, 10 to 15 questions you will get on this. Okay. So problem is uh, while reading it's very easy, but then you have to prepare. While applying it's a bit difficult. Uh-huh. Yeah, so if you want to make money, that is a good opportunity. But then if you want to be very professional, that is not a good opportunity. The problem is, okay, now see, everybody is okay without a formal procedure, but suddenly if something goes wrong, then you are in trouble. Yeah, because a contract has value only when things are not going wrong. If everything is going fine, a contract doesn't have much significance. Right, only when things go bad, at that time only the formal contract and all has value. Because when if you have to go to court, then these things, if it is not there, you are in trouble. Yeah, you'll be in prison. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Yeah, so if the documents are not available, you can even end up in a prison. So that is a problem. Okay then. Sanjay, you have any questions? Sanjay, Kohli and Aurora, do you have any questions? Ah, okay. Not a problem. So what I do is, like, I'll stop recording now.